Hi everyone, welcome to the live today. I think we had something happen in our line because some people just disappear. We're here and then they all gone. So in the meantime, I'm going to say hello to Daniela, Mariana, everybody say hello. And please come with your questions during this live tonight. So today we're going to talk about something very, very important, which is self-discipline. I know sometimes people think that self-discipline is equals punishment, and it's not so. I'm going to ask you if you can hear me very well. Oi, Fran, everything's okay? So I want you to tell me if you hear me well, because we are having some sound problems in here. So I'm waiting for your feedback on that. I don't know if you can hear me well. If you can, please let me know. I cannot hear your answers or see your answers. I have just a second. Well, hi, Claudia, Alexandra, Fran. Everything is okay. Good. That's fantastic. Guys, I am so excited to talk about this subject that you cannot even imagine. This is something that I really love to talk about. Self-discipline and responsibility. Hi everyone, if people still coming, Fernanda, hi Mariana, Alexandra from Portugal, from London, everybody's, Lorena, how you doing? So as you can, please be interactive today, and I would like to answer some questions if you have any, but please bring some questions to our live tonight. It will be very appreciated. But in the meantime, I am going to talk about this subject that I am very fascinated by. Self-discipline. I know a lot of people think that self-discipline equals punishment. Maybe because our parents, our grandparents used to say that we are not disciplined, and we used to come, if we are not disciplined enough, they will punishing us for that. So we have this limit belief that we think that one thing equals the other, and not at all. So self-discipline for many, many years, if I go back into my diaries from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I see over and over again written, I need to get more disciplined. I need to get more disciplined. And until a few years ago, when I realized that I'm one of the most disciplined people I know. So although I still very disciplined, but it's never enough. So we have to learn to become more self-disciplined. And why is that? Because I believe that self-discipline is the key to success. Why? Because we live in a society where we always find someone to blame. So if we are not earning enough money, is the government's fault. Is the president, is the prime minister, is the government. So we pay too many taxes. In the meanwhile, there is a lot of people earning a lot of money, but ourselves. So we have to take responsibility. There is a writer called Brian Tracy. This gentleman always states in his books, if we only take full responsibility for our lives would be very different. And that's what I invite you to do today. To take responsibility for your lives. But in the meantime, we live in a society where if anything happens, we always blame someone. It's very common for us to see in the media, in the news, in the radio, in the television, if something happens, there is always someone say, but who's to blame? We have to blame everyone for some things that sometimes is our own responsibility. For instance, if we are not happy at work, we always blame our bosses or our colleagues. But really, sometimes we change our jobs and we have the same problem. So who's the problem? Or who's to blame, if anybody? ourselves. If we only take responsibility for our actions, maybe our lives would be very different. So sometimes we bring that blame to our husbands or our wives. I would like to do this or do that, but my husband, my wife don't let me. It's her fault. No, take responsibility for your life, because of course there is a lot of people sometimes that we have to take in consideration people who work with us, people who are our bosses, or people who are working for us, or our colleagues or our children. But in life, we can only go blaming so far. Because what happens is, when we are in that blame state, we become victims. And victims never heal or never grow. So, why is so important that we take responsibility for our lives? Because there is no one else who's responsible for our lives but ourselves. Of course, sometimes things happen, should happen, and that's living. But complaining, moaning, and blaming other people for what happened instead of finding a solution is very different. And I always heard that the person who used to run the company Apple, when something happened, he never asked if a problem occurred. He never happened who was responsible. He only asked for people to solve the problem. And that's what we should be doing. So instead of us focus in who's to blame, we should be focus our energy in how we're going to solve that problem. So that is taking responsibility. And for us to take responsibility, we have to do one thing: make a decision. Pay attention to this word. Take a decision. Make a decision to succeed. Make a decision to make things happen. But what happens is that we want something when we know what we want, because sometimes we want to go somewhere, but we don't even know where we want to go, so we get lost. So that's why it's so important that we know our goals. What do I want for my life? A goal has to be measurable, has to have a date, has to have a purpose. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. So, one thing is, first of all, know what we want. And then, what are we going to do to achieve it? But what happens is that most times we start to do something, and if the things don't go according to our plan, what do? First time, second time, third time, we give up. And then we say, I tried, but I didn't really happen. I didn't succeed. I am not lucky. Everybody else is lucky, but I am not lucky. I tell you what, lucky doesn't exist. Luck is hard work. When you do everything it takes to achieve whatever you put yourself to achieve, that is lucky. But people always look for what you have achieved, but they never look how many times you failed. But that is important to see. If you want to achieve something in life, you have to have self-discipline. Why? Because there is times that you feel like you don't want to do it. For instance, you want to go on a diet. But something happened, and then you reach for the next chocolate in your cupboard. So you are on a diet for 3 days. You look at the scales and nothing happened. You say, oh, I give up. I haven't lost any weight in 3 days. I'm doing this sacrifice. Guys, I tell you what, if you're really serious, you have to have self-discipline. You have to look to that pizza in front of you and say, no, thanks. I like myself too much to put myself to go through that. Or if you look at that chocolate which is in the supermarket, looking at you, calling your name, and you say, no, I like myself too much to put myself through that. So that is when I call discipline. But the thing is, sometimes you try one thing once, you try something twice, 3 times, and then you say, oh, I give up, I don't manage, I'm not lucky. No, take that idea out of your head. It doesn't work like that. Remember, Edison, he tried more than 1,000, him and his team tried more than 1,000 times to get the light bulb. Imagine if he had given up after 100 times. Today we still be here with the candles. So, why? Because when the New York Times journalist asked him and said to him, you failed hundreds of times, why don't you give up? He said, no, I didn't fail. I only know how doesn't work, but haven't failed. I'm still looking to find a solution. And that's what's missing on us, is that determination to find out how it works. So today, if you are listening to me, if you are there, and I know many of you are here, how determined are you to succeed in life? I know my friend Marlon Regdahl say, Maria, but not everybody is like you. I know. I don't want people to be like me. One of me is enough, I tell you. But I want you to be your best self. For what you are capable of doing, I really encourage you to be your best self. Because some people think for giving and doing one thing once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, they give up. That is not the way. If you are serious about having a successful life, be prepared to fall hundreds of times. I tell you, my knees are hurting from me from falling. But every time I manage to stand up, every time I manage, because I knew I want something. And when I made that decision, I was very conscious about what I want. And that's the message I want to pass to you today. For that, you have to have self-discipline. Because without it, you are not going to achieve what you want to achieve. And I cannot express that enough. Because sometimes people are telling me, Maria, I try and I try and I try. One thing is you being persistent. Another thing is you being stubborn. What is the difference of being persistent and stubborn? Stubborn is when you do one thing over and over again the same way and expecting to have a different result. But that is not being clever. If you're being stubborn because you tried once, twice, 3 times and it didn't work, think, ask intelligent questions. If this is not working, I try in a different way. That is being persistent. Edison being persistent in more than 1,000 ways to achieving a light bulb. Why do we give up, 10 times after? People sometimes say, Maria, I really like to change my work, but I've sent 10 CVs and I had no reply. 10 CVs are not enough. Be prepared. If you want to succeed in life, be prepared to work the extra mile, because it's the extra mile every day that's going to make you having the results. But the thing is, we always, we most of the times just want to do the minimum. If you want to succeed, be prepared to go extra mile. When I used to work, whatever I work, I always go the extra mile. I just don't do what I've been asked. I go extra mile. When I work with my clients, I go the extra mile. And we have to learn to go the extra mile. Because if we just do the bare minimum, we're going to have the bare minimum results. For big results, we have to put the work in. So people say, oh, we have to work, I want to have a better body shape, so I'm going to do exercises. Okay, so we people usually start at the beginning of the year, and depends where you are in the world. If you are in Europe, it's very cold, So the second week of January, people are already given up. So what happened, and that is a tendency that people have, is when you doing exercises and one day you fell asleep, you don't go, the next day you say, never mind, I didn't go today, I didn't go yesterday, I'm not going tomorrow neither, and you give up altogether. No, for you to achieve whatever you want, even if you miss a day, you say, yesterday was yesterday, past. Today I'm going to carry on, install that new habit, which is doing exercises. So if you are learning something and you're getting very frustrated because you haven't quite managed to get it, you have to try over and over and over again. Talent is something that you've been born with, but skill is something that you develop. In order for you to be skillful, you have to put the hours in. I do work for many years in something that is very skillful, and I had to put the hours. It's not by reading that I learn. You have to put the hours. So be prepared to put the hours. So that is very well, Maria, but I tell you what, I want to do that, but my kids don't let me because, I have to help them. My husband doesn't support me. My boss don't let me go out half an hour earlier. Find a way. Make that decision. Because what happens is we want to do something new, we want to have to transform our lives, but we want to happen like this. We just think that by thought alone everything happens. It's not like so. We have to learn to ask. Once again, I state this. We have to learn to ask better questions. In the meantime, I'm going to say hello to some people I haven't seen here today. Daniela's from Portugal is here, Albinha from Portugal as well, Yolanda, Claudia from Portugal, Marco, Iliane B is you here, Alexandre here. My Lord, love good people here. And Claudia say hello, England, from Viseu, good night, boa noite, everybody's here. So, I would like to invite you to ask questions at this point. If you have problems by being self-disciplined, because I know people tell me all the time, I start something and by few weeks later I've already given up. So when I say about taking responsibility, is because sometimes people end up not doing what they supposed to be doing because they give excuses. Oh, I want to do that, but these excuses. No excuses. If you really want to do something, do it. But you have to do it enough times until you get the results. Learn with farmers, for instance. Imagine a farmer planting a seed, right? And every other day the farmer goes on the soil and looks what happened to the seed. It doesn't happen like that, does it? So if you want to do something, plant the seed, water it, give it attention, but not go on the soil and look for the seed. Give it time to germinate. With our goals, with our decisions, it's the same. With our inner work, is the same. So if you have a goal, you have to do every day something towards it. But have the faith that eventually, if you're doing the right steps, if you're doing the right thing, eventually you will reap the fruits. But the problem is that sometimes we want to reap the fruits without even planting them. We have to plant first for them to reap. Or then we think we have this crazy idea that things should be very easy. Some things are easy, some things we have to work at it. And I am today talking about the things that we have to work at it. And I know for sure, for material success, you have to have self-discipline. You have to make a decision to be successful. And that decision alone is not enough. You have to take all the steps that it needs to get where you want to go. If you want to go to the top of a ladder, you have to start, walking the first steps. You have to climb the first 2 steps, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. You're not all of a sudden going from the first step to the last step. No, it doesn't work like that. And sometimes is what we do, isn't it? Sometimes we don't want to do the work, but the work, it needs to be done. It needs to be done because if we want to achieve something in life, we have to do the work. It's our path. Yes, Maria, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get there. Get a coach. Get someone who's going to help you on that process, on that path. But don't die with the dreams. I like Les Brown when he used to say, the cemetery is the richest place on earth. It's because where it's full of dreams that never been fulfilled. Don't die without fulfilling your dreams. That is your birthright. So do whatever you need to do to achieve it. This, in a way, is what I've been doing all my life. And I can tell you today that I'm reaping the fruits after 20 years of hard working. Do we always have to work hard? Depends in what you want. We all do not want the same things. But whatever you want, make sure that you do everything that you can to get it. Let's see if someone says something. So Marcus says, self-discipline is hard to achieve. I have a bad habit, but working on it 24/7. That's very good, Marco, because that's what we have to do all day, especially if we have very negative habits or not so good habits. We have to work in install new habits. That's what we want to do, because unfortunately sometimes we had bad habits and we feel we have to die with them. We don't have to. This is a limit belief that we have that doesn't really help us to grow. Remember, and that is something that I really want you to learn here tonight. If you are not growing, you are dying, because that's what happens in nature. Every single plant that is not growing is dying. And we are human beings. We should be growing, because we are here to be happy. We are here to shine. We are here to flourish. We are here to grow. Believe me, we can all grow. I know that is sometimes we're going through things in life that we have to stop. Sometimes we're going through physical illness, emotional trouble, spiritual problems. We know that. We all somehow go through all those problems. But that is not forever. That's why don't stay in the victim position. Victim doesn't really serve you in any way. If you want to grow, leave the victim position behind in the past. And from today, make that decision to change your life for better. Because you can. I am not saying that you should go and because now, as my friend used to say, now we had in this movement, coach movement, where everybody can achieve and do everything. No, we cannot all do everything. But whatever you put your mind to do and you're capable of doing it, then do it. It's your birthright to be happy, to be successful, to be beautiful. Believe that. Don't stay with that self-belief or limit belief from your parents when they used to say that you're not enough, that you're not good enough, you're not clever enough, you're not intelligent enough, you're not responsible enough. That has passed. That is the past. Now you are responsible for your life. Make that life to be the best one you can have. And don't blame other people for your misery. Don't blame other people for your misfortunes. Don't stay in that position. Get out of there. Doesn't serve you. Look around you. Look who are the 10 people who surround you. Who are they? Are people who are successful? Are people who want to grow in life? Or are people so-called losers? Or those who always complain about everything? If you are with those people, leave them behind. Don't wish them any harm. They have hard enough. So move on. Because we have to elevate our vibration to a different level. A level where we can grow. We can make a difference in life. If we cannot make a difference in the world, make a difference in your own life. You can do that. Make a difference in your son's, in your daughter's life, in your brothers and sisters' life, in your colleague life. We can always do something. I believe that. The problem is we're always looking for someone who can help us. But us, we feel like we are incapable of helping other people. But we are mistaken. We have a soul, we have a heart, we have abilities. So use them. Use them and be the most you can. Be happy. Be fulfilled. Because when you feel fulfilled inside, that's when you can go and seed love, seed peace, seed all those things around you, then can elevate you and other people around you. So I would like just to say thank you for being here with me tonight. It's been a pleasure. And listen, please, if you like this material that I brought for you tonight, please subscribe. It's for free. It's a favor that you do. And so please subscribe to the channel and put the thumbs up or a little heart, whatever you want. But contribute to the love. And send this live to someone who might enjoy it, that might help them. Because that is the problem. When it's bad news, we sometimes share it. Do you realize that? This is another thing that I meant to say today. If it's a catastrophe, if it's bad news, in a minute everybody knows about it. When it's something that can elevate you, can help you, everybody gets quiet about it. Why is that? So please share the love with everybody. So I'm thanking you for being here, for being so supportive. Hi Daisy, for being here with me all the time, cheer me up, and please be the best. This is the opportunity that you need and that you deserve. Love you all.